Hi, I'm Chef Taylor, and I own a little company called Chef's Touch Catering here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I'm so glad to partner with FreshRx to provide this wonderful demo on this amazing healthy salad. Now, I do know before we get into it that all of these ingredients are available to you if you're in the FreshRx membership program. Today, we have apples, we have yams and beets and purple cabbage. This is the country harvest salad. We browned our chicken. We used spring mix and spinach mixed together. We made our salad dressing from scratch from stuff that's in your pantry, Dijon mustard, apple cider vinegar, all of which, if you don't get from the membership program, you can certainly support your local farmers here. All right, well, stay tuned. I'm going to get ready to get started here to demo this salad so you can make it at home. Okay, so we have basic salt and pepper here, and I mix it together to give like a nice, blend. So equal parts salt and pepper because it says to taste, right? And so I am a flavor town type of girl. And so I am a little more middle. So I just do both sides there, and I'm going to flip it over on the opposite side. And I got this chicken. It's really affordable. You can get this. I like shopping at Reese's. They are local. I'm an advocate for local stuff. So, all right. So we're going to kind of rub that in, massage the chicken. And I like to let the seasoning sit on there just to soak it in. And that key word is called marinating, right? We want to soak that in and kind of push that to the side. And we'll set this right over here by our stove. And so then that gives us time while it's marinating to put a little olive oil in the recipe. It says like 1 full cup. Oh no, that's for the salad dressing. Okay, just a little teaspoon in our pan because we're going to saute it and brown it. Right? This is a big skillet, so you need a little more just to give that foundation cover. So that's about 1.5 teaspoons. And this is nice extra virgin olive oil. It's nice and clean and healthy. So I'm going to kind of spread that around my pot. I'm going to turn my skillet on to about medium high because I would like my chicken to get that nice caramelized brown color on the outside that makes it tasty. All right, and while we're doing that, since we have time, we're going to go ahead and start our carrot soup. Our recipe is for harvest chicken salad and carrot ginger soup, okay? So it calls for 5 pounds of carrots, and we're going to get some water in our pot and boil those until they're tender. And so a little secret to add flavor, because the recipe calls for vegetable stock, I use Lipton soup mix. Super flavorful, affordable, easy to find in the grocery store, and it just adds a little bit more to that flavor. Veggie broth can be, healthy and clean, but I'm a flavor girl, like I said. So we're filling this up about halfway. And don't forget to turn your fan and your lights on right here above your station. All right. And, we definitely want to make sure that we have lids. Water boils faster with the lid on. Just a little note. Okay, so we have our carrots. We also are going to get our soup mix. I'm going to go ahead and pour that in there. And whisk, whisk, whisk. Get that. All right. There's our broth. And we can just jump our carrots. This is a really super easy recipe, and that's what we like when we're rushing around. I know I rush around all the time. We were just talking about that. And cover that up, and we can forget about that for a few minutes. In the meantime, this is still getting a little hot. Our chicken is still soaking up all that seasoning. And we have some time to come back to our next recipe component here, which is our salad dressing. So the salad dressing is kind of a really light, tasty, healthy version of a vinaigrette. I use apple cider vinegar, Dijon mustard, maple syrup, and then I use a little honey too. And I always love Nate's organic honey. I mean, it's just, honey is God's gift to the earth. And this one has really nice flavor. The flowers add the flavor. So I always like to put the honey in first. Get that in there with our sugar, because when you add the vinegar, it'll break up all that stickiness and make it easy to whisk. Forgive me, I am an eyeball type of lady. I season food until the ancestors tell me to stop most of the time. But recipes are a guide, and I love using them too. So this is a great opportunity for me to follow instruction. And so here we go. We're going to whisk, whisk, whisk. I like to whisk the vinegar in with the sugar first because that homogenizes those sugars and that vinegar. And then I add my olive oil. We need a full cup of olive oil. There we go. And we're going to whisk, whisk, whisk. And then our Dijon mustard. Another quick tip to make this go along faster is you can put all of this in a blender. You know, blenders are magic inventions and they work. But for the sake of our demo, we're going to go through this step. And if you don't have a blender, you can achieve the same results with the whisk, right? Old-fashioned whisk in a bowl. Let's open that up. Leaving that on the side. Okay. We need a full half a teaspoon of the Dijon. There we go. All right. And I definitely, start small with my salt and pepper, because all the flavors of all your other ingredients will go a long way with the seasoning. Now, I do want to taste this. Taste as you go, folks. All right. It's almost there. I think we just need a little bit more salt and pepper. And there we have it. Nice and clean. Nice flavors. Super easy. And we can forget about that and come back to our chicken. Now we have a little heat coming. This is what we want because we want to sear this chicken to get the nice brown flavors, which is called caramelization. You want to hear that sizzle. All right. And let that go. I turned that down a little to medium. It was on high. Electric is a little finicky, so I like to start high and bring it down. If you have fire, it's already ready, right? Love gas, but I have electric at home too. So now we have our chicken. I flipped it over. You see that nice caramelized brown. This is what we want. This screams flavor at us. And so we're going to brown each side, and that takes approximately like 5 minutes on each side. And then I already have my oven turned on to 425, and it'll go pretty quickly. So we're going to leave it in the oven for like 15 minutes. So that's almost there. We're going to check this side. This is looking good. You don't want to overcook chicken breast. It's the last thing. We want nice, juicy, and that's a temperature game right there. Okay. We're going to turn that off. That's nice and hot. And let's set a timer for 15 minutes. We're jumping back to our soup rotation. And so it called for 5 large onions, and that is just all about the flavor. We've got onion soup broth, sauteing with our carrots. This is nice and hot already, so we're just going to come over here. So we put that on medium high again. And all we need is about a tablespoon of oil here as well. I like to swirl it around and get good coverage for all of our onions. And we're just going to go ahead and put that right on top there. And that's going to heat up. And those onions, we're going to caramelize them also. Because again, that brown, there's a constant theme there. Browning means flavor, which is caramelization. All right. And it doesn't have to be chopped in a particular way. I mean, this is a rough chop recipe because we're eventually going to saute this and put it all in the pot. And I have a magic tool over here called the immersion blender. Love these. You just stick it right in the pot and it does its thing. Now, if you don't have one of those, a regular blender will work fine too. You just want to make sure your soup is a little cool before you put it in the blender because you might have some explosion happening. Too much hot heat in a blender with the lid on, disaster. Okay. Right. So that is starting to do its thing. Another tip I have is to keep your station organized and clean. Clean as you go. You know, it really presents mixing of flavors, that horrible word, cross-contamination, or not dragging food across places without cleaning first, you know, might cause problems. All right, so we've got our onion sauteing. Our carrots are coming to a boil. That's looking good. Now we're going to season these onions also. I like to add levels of flavor. So I like to lightly season every component instead of doing a big dump at the end, right? All right, that's looking nice. And these are just nice, sweet Vidalia onions. Now, you can get really fancy and add some other flavored onions. There's onions that come in all colors. And there's shallots, and then you can mix it up with some green onions. This recipe is really versatile. The foundation is simply carrots and onions and garlic. And so you can get exciting and mix it up as you like. Like I'm going to add a few green onions in there for color and then our garlic. And you know, garlic will burn quickly, so you want to add that last, right? And you can smell all those flavors. It's starting to marry together. And this is a fun recipe because it is completely vegan, you know, and these days many people have food allergies and food intolerances, and so I do enjoy the flavors that come from this vegan recipe. Now, alternatively, you can jazz it up and add some heavy cream to it and make it a bisque. And that's the versatility of food. You know, this, you know, you can just keep playing with it and to achieve the flavor that you want. Okay, this is looking good. Carrot soup, you can essentially stop at this level. But for me, being that Flavor Town girl, I like to add spices from around the globe. I, being Caribbean descent, tend to get a little excited when you talk about ginger and nutmeg. And so this is a really good brand, Morton and Bassett from San Francisco. The best ground spice. Now you can also sub fresh ginger for this. It will give it a slightly different flavor profile. Always remember that the powdered version versus the fresh version is going to yield a different result. So you don't need as much for your powder as you would for fresh to achieve that same flavor. This has been sitting, fermenting, and different notes come out. Just like ground cinnamon versus the cinnamon stick. If you've ever tried that, it's a little different. Still delicious, both of them. So I like to cook my spices with the vegetables to marry those flavors together. This is hot paprika. This is not really spicy. It is just the brand. It's smoky. It really just elevates everything to the 10th power. And it has a lovely little red color. And so it's exciting to taste. We don't need very much of these. We're only going to use 1/4 of a teaspoon of each. All right, and you just use your knife and just level that off. Dump it right there on our onions. And then we're going to wipe that out because we don't want to cross blend our recipes, our seasoning for our recipe. I mean. All right, another 1/4 teaspoon right on top of there. And then our hot paprika. Right on top. Okay, so then we're going to stir that, stir. You see our onions are getting nice and soft and brown. That smells so good. And so this, being nice and soft and ready to blend. All right, we're going to turn that off. Check on our carrots here. See how far we're coming. Get a slotted spoon for that. We want these to be fork tender, easy to blend. Let's see. Yep, we're almost there. Just a few more moments. So in the meantime, we can check on our chicken. All right, so we're going to take that out and look at it. Ooh, it's looking good. The chicken temperature for doneness is 165. Okay, anything under that might give you some bad germs inside your belly. These are bigger pieces, so these will take a little bit more time. Let's check this guy over here. And he's cooking. He might be done. He is done. And you want it to go over a little bit because when it comes down and rests, it will be right at 165. So that piece is done. We're going to put these 2 other big guys back in the oven for a few minutes. Okay. Strain some of the water off, and we'll use this later. So hold on to it in another bowl. I've got a nice little strainer in there. Okay. Oh, this is cute. Look at that. Love it. So at this point, I'm going to take our soft carrots and throw them back in the bowl and get all that yummy stuff that was in that strainer. Don't throw any of that out. And then we're going to add our onions. All that brown bits, we want all that in there. That's all good, yummy, tasty stuff right there. All right, and we're going to mix all that together, all right? And there's our soup foundation. And we're going to turn this down a little bit. I'm going to turn that on to medium. All right, so here, this is another level where we add a little seasoning. Remember, I like to add a little bit on each level. We're going to add some of the liquid, not quite all of it, to start forming the foundation of our soup. Now, this is what we call a pureed soup. So it's going to have a nice thick consistency. The broth was for flavor, but we're not going to need all of it today. You can save this. And a little fun trick I do is put it in the freezer, make little ice cubes, and then I have nice onion stock whenever I'm ready. And we're just going to stick it in the refrigerator right here at the bottom and leave that in there just until the steam comes off. At this great point where we are making our entree salad. So this is a chicken harvest salad. So we have our grilled chicken. It also calls for yams. I chose Japanese purple yams that have a natural sweetness, and the flesh is white on the inside. Amazing. Then we have purple cabbage today, which adds a nice crunch. Then we have spring mixed with a little spinach. And the possibilities are endless. You can use arugula, you can use frisee, you can jazz it up with radicchio. Lettuces are power and their flavor. Okay. Then we have some lovely Honeycrisp apple. This is my favorite apple, but you can use, again, any of your heart's desire. pink lady apples, gala apples, as long as it has a nice natural sweetness and not the green ones, because they can kind of take away from your salad. Those are good for baking. And then I like a little green onion on my salad, and that's a personal thing. I like onions a lot. Okay, so we're going to slice our chicken really thin. Always kind of go against the grain because it makes your meat a little more tender. All right, here we go. That's nice and done all the way through. We got our temp of 165. And so I like to make my salads a little pretty. I mean, vegetables are like God's artwork. You have so many colors, and I like to center my greens so they are the main focal. And then we have our nice little leaves of spinach in there. And then we're going to kind of break our cabbage up. It's nice, finely chopped. We're going to kind of compose it right in the center there too. All right, make a little nest, right? And so then I like to put our apples so that they're on display. We got some nice pretty apples there to show off to your friends and family that you have some culinary skills. You know, apples are versatile and pretty. All right. All right, and then our yams. And we can just kind of place those. You know, we want to balance our salad. We don't want to add too much of anything. Nice little balance so it covers all of your salad greens. And then we have a little green onion that we can sprinkle. And this little nest created the perfect little placement for our chicken salad, right? Or chicken to go right on top of there. And we can fan that right on out so that looks pretty too. And then we can drizzle our salad dressing right on top. Now, if you love salad dressing, you know, you can certainly, you know, toss those greens in the salad dressing beforehand, okay? There we go. And there we have it. We have our chicken harvest salad. Maybe put a few more green onions on top there. Nice little light salad that's healthy. You have your protein, and we're using all these wonderful vegetables that you normally wouldn't think of. Yams, cabbage. These are this nice hearty root vegetables that we think about when we think of harvest. All right. So we have our puree, we have our onions, we have our carrots that we saute to get all that flavor. And so this is the speed up version. We did the traditional version. We whisked and used the immersion blender, but this works just fine, but we cooled it down first, remember? So we are going to go ahead and add that to this lovely food processor. Okay. I'm going to give it a pulse. That's it. Alright, I like to look at it. We want to get everything in there. Good thing. Alright, let's take a look here. We're going to do our little taste test here to see if it needs any additional flavor. I like maple syrup, but you know, stevia is a good choice if you have any type of challenges with your food diet. It's a really good, tasty alternative. So let's give this a little taste. That's so good. That is great. I am going to add just a touch of maple syrup because, again, I'm a Flavor Town girl. And we're just going to do just a little dip right in there. Don't be shy. There's just a little pinch of salt. And that is our next level. And then we're going to turn that back on for another minute. That is looking good. Just want to give it a nice stir to make sure there's no chunks in there. And make sure it's nicely pureed. We want a texture kind of like baby food or applesauce. It's okay if it has some small bits, but no big chunks, okay? So for our garnishes, I like to garnish everything. You can use some of those really lovely yams that we cooked, and they kind of will take the place of a crouton, especially if you are gluten-free, you have any allergy there. Nice little sub, okay? So that's feeling good. That's looking good. So from here, you can serve your guests. You can just pour that in the bowl. Look at that. It looks so good. Hearty. And so then I'm going to put my little croutons on top there. A little green onion. And stick it in the microwave. All right, here we go, y'all. This is the perfect carrot ginger puree soup. Perfect for vegan, gluten-free, allergies. I'm going to take a little test here with one of my croutons. Oh, that's so good. It just feels warm and healthy. So tasty. So please enjoy this recipe with the salad. I mean, the salad will just be a perfect lunch for you and your friends.